Here we are again in step 5 this time of your curriculum development project. And if you made it this far, you're that much closer to the end. But by now, you've probably experienced a little bit of anxiety, whether it be related to the curriculum steps or planning time to communicate with your group. But regardless, I just want to encourage you, keep up the good work, keep doing what you're doing. We're almost done. And think about what you're including in your curriculum and take it seriously. Spend some time actually thinking about the process and what you believe to be important. This should be a direct reflection of you, your group, your beliefs, as well as your growth as a professional. So, in step 5 of your curriculum project, you're going to reflect on all the goals that you've previously developed. I know we've been spending a lot of time on those goals, and you will determine how much emphasis will be placed on each one of those goals. So in other words, how much time and effort will you spend on each of the goals that you've developed because you did think that they were important enough to include in your curriculum. And this will help you not only look at all the goals across your program, but also help to ensure that all the goals are actually going to be met. And you want to have a balanced curriculum. And if your goals have been effectively developed, you'll find that that balance will come easy. All it takes is looking at the goals, organizing them, and identifying which ones should receive the most attention. Now, some may get to this point and realize that some of their goals have absolutely no place in their curriculum, or some may need minor revisions, some may need major revisions. And this is perfectly acceptable, and it's actually a sign of a good reflective learner, a process that many of us need to practice. So, the first thing you want to do in this step is to clearly identify the grade levels of your program. You should organize this on a chart or spreadsheet just to help you visually. And only include the grade levels covered in your specific program. Generally, if your program is designed for elementary school, this will include kindergarten through 5th grade. Middle school, 6th through 9th grade. High school, 9th through 12th. Of course, only a few seniors have physical education, but you still must include this as part of your curriculum. And it's important to note that also some programs address student athletes at the collegiate level. And this is generally students at the junior college level and those preparing to enter university level competition. If you've designed your program for student athletes, instead of listing grades covered in your program, you should develop a list of abilities or skill levels. For example, you can identify skill level 1 as beginner, skill level 2 is intermediate, skill level 4 is advanced, or skill level 3 is advanced, and skill level 4 as the elite athlete. And be sure you include at least 4 skill levels. You don't have to title them exactly the same, but have at least 4. And so whether it be grade levels or skill levels, list those across the top of the spreadsheet. And then within your program and across all the grade levels or skill levels covered, you want to include all your goals. Make sure that they're addressed somewhere at some point throughout your curriculum. After all, once again, you did develop the goals. You did identify those as things that you thought were important to the students or athletes in your program. So next, create your list of goals, and this should be the same goals you had in step 2 of the curriculum development project. Line those down the left side of your chart or your spreadsheet, and at this point, you may want to take a look at your goals and realize how extensive they are. Don't delete any, but if you haven't realized how many goals you have and how difficult it may be to address those, that's fine. Obviously, you wanted them in your program, but now comes the difficult task of determining how much time you'll actually have to address each one. It's not mandatory that your goals remain in this order or the order that you originally had them. You can reorganize them, you can group them to better determine how they can be addressed. So, for example, if your program is designed for students at the high school level, you may want to group them by team sport or individual sport or non-traditional sports. You can also group them by skill, game skills, sports skills, body management skills, or you can also organize them by domain, psychomotor, cognitive, affective. Feel free to rearrange your goals if it helps you to organize and clarify them and address them a little bit better. And once you have your chart pretty much developed with your grade and skill levels and the goals, you can then begin to estimate an amount of percentage that each goal will receive. And in this example, the grade level is elementary school. The goals are organized by domain. Keep in mind that this is only an example. If you were completing your list this way, of course, you would have several goals listed beneath each domain heading. Here, I only have one just for our example purposes. So I've decided that kindergarten is not going to receive any attention. Don't have enough time to spend on kindergarten. Again, just an example. In the 1st grade, within the affective domain, I plan to spend about 35% on goal number 2, 10% on goal number 3, which is in the cognitive category, and 15% on goal number 1, which is in the psychomotor category. So you can see my goals are actually out of order, but they're grouped by domain. So you'll continue to do something very similar to this for each grade level or skill level that you have. Also, keep in mind that you will total the estimate or estimated percentage at the bottom of your spreadsheet or chart, and within each grade level or skill level, you should always come to a 100% total. This ensures that you spread the goal focus within your entire curriculum. And when done, you'll have a chart that represents how much time you think you will spend on each goal in each grade level across your entire curriculum. So, begin to collaborate with your group. You can also take some additional time to go through the ranking process if you need to indicate how each group member would spread the goal emphasis. Again, take your time, discuss it, come to a final group decision. This is not the job of one person. It's a collaborative effort, and hopefully I've gotten that across throughout this course, which is now how all curricula should be developed. So, with that being said, let's jump to step number 6. Now, step number 6 in your curriculum development project is fairly simple. You'll develop another chart similar to that on figure 6.5 on page 122 of your textbook. And in this step, you'll indicate how much instructional time is actually available within your program. And this is oftentimes a surprise to teachers because they realize how little time they actually have to teach. And when you consider how many things minimize physical education instruction, and the question is always, why does it happen during PE? It's saddening. And the text deducts 10% for lost time, but it can be more or it can be less for your program. And so in your chart, you'll calculate the actual instructional time you have throughout your entire program. So take a look at figure 6.5 in your textbook. In the first column, they've listed 1 day of instruction per week. There are 36 instructional days each year, and just thinking about this highlights the minimal amount of time that students have in physical education at this level. Then there's 30 minutes of class time. Now this is per week, which is about 1,080 minutes of scheduled class time per year. That's scheduled class time. If you subtract the lost time, you'll see how much instructional time in hours is actually available. For those who are developing an athletics program, determine how much practice time you have instead of instructional time. Determine if you should practice year-round and then calculate the time from that. And there's another example on page 123, figure 6.6, that gives you a comparison of instructional time by program level. So you can follow the directions provided in the text. They're simple to follow, they're pretty self-explanatory, and they will help you develop your chart for your program. So steps 5 and 6 will be submitted separately, but in your final curriculum project, you will include them in the same file. So as usual, feel free to contact me if there are ever any questions. Take care, and I'll see you online.